This is a recording for the ones who couldn't make it to the session. You have it all available on Eduki Interactive. So, just very briefly, um, so we talk about norming today. What is norming? So that's what we did in the session. It's basically a group scoring, so everybody's working together to be able to agree on a score or on a mark for a material. Um, in this case, you use rubrics, but the rubrics that we usually have, the rubrics that we built for the quality assessment, are not the ones that were used in this session. We used a different version of it, a more summarized version of it. So the learning outcomes of this session were to understand our quality assessment rubrics and its description. So what does everything mean? Apply the rubrics in a summarized way, simplified way to assess a material together, to agree together and to understand where quality comes from. To reflect on how material quality makes an impact on learning every time we assessed a material or an aspect of a material, an assessment criteria, we understood what the impact on learning was. It is a session with a lot of us with different backgrounds, so you may have different results. Try to agree, but we also gave some results, and you can all check, what the correct answer was. There may be some terminology that is not familiar. That's okay. You can ask, you can clarify that. And this may be very unfamiliar to you as well because you come from different backgrounds, and this is what we mentioned at the beginning. And we actually run out of time, and that's why some of those criteria and assessment were given as homework. What didn't we do? We did not use the quality signals that the users will see. We didn't use the full rubrics in all its dimensions. The full rubrics are these ones, and if you want to look at it, um, you're happy if you can ask me, if you want to ask me questions about them. But these are all the ones that we wrote to create the foundation of quality on our platform. So we're used to summarized version. We're not focusing on product. We didn't focus on that, although there was a very interesting question by one of the participants about how can we help teachers do all of that in their materials, and this is where Eduki Learning comes into play. How is it that we can, apart from helping them become successful in their sales, but also become successful in their sales related to the quality that they can put into their materials. Our dimensions were these: visual engagement, socio-emotional skills, cognitive depth, pedagogical support, accuracy in best practices and outcomes and assessment. And we only looked at 3. We actually looked at 2. We looked at visual engagement and cognitive depth. There was not enough time to do socio-emotional skills, but the material and the workshop is pretty self-explanatory through Eduki Learning, so through Eduki Interactive, so you can do it yourself as well and understand these dimensions of assessment. So as I said to you before, instead of looking at this, we looked at this, a very simple criteria with just 2 options. Usually we have 4: fail, pass, merit, and distinction, for very slight differences, but here we've got 2. Yes, and you'll need the link for Eduki Interactive, and everybody worked in pairs. And I'm gonna share some learnings that are in the result of the workshop. So when you open the Eduki Interactive link, you will be able to see a sequence of the different criteria to assess. So I encourage you to open it and to follow it one by one in order to assess the material that it's made available to you, answering the questions, listening to the rationale, to the reasons why we would give a mark or the one or the other, like if it's present in the material or if it's not, and just go through through it in order to learn what quality means. Thank you so much for attending or not attending and listening to this. Bye.